I don't think it matters whether it's an absentee spouse or not. And I would say 10% of our cases have absentee spouses. The rest of 90% of the time, they're either around or they're found. I mean, that's just the way the world works, right? Everybody's on social media. It's hard to go off the grid, as they say nowadays. So I think that people need to understand that they're in an emotional, illogical, and irrational time. Anybody would be. I would be if I were in that situation. I've been blessed I'm not in that situation, but we attempt to try to make an emotionally rational, logical time as calming as can be. So our job is not just to be your attorney and fight and yell and scream at the other side and argue in court. Our job is to also be the counselors and the advisors to say, okay, let's step back, let's look at it. I always use the analogy, we are the navigators, they are the captains. If we were the navigators and the captains of the ship and we ran it all our way, then our clients would have no say-so on what happens. But being a navigator and a captain, I think having two of those, it allows us and the clients to get on the same page for us to make good decisions with them. Do you agree with that, Heather?
I do agree. And I think what I always tell clients is that the divorce process and custody process is the most emotional time that they're probably ever going to have. It's a death of a marriage. You're mourning that. You are emotional about your children. But not only that, you also bring in property to it. So now you're talking about your money and your livelihood. So it's a very scary time for a lot of clients. I've had some of the most intelligent professionals that can carry on a conversation with another professional just perfect regarding any topic. But when it comes to their divorce, they become very emotional. When your emotions become involved, common sense is out the door a lot of the times. And so what I tell my clients is you get to be emotional and you get to be upset about what you're going through, but just please reach out to your counselor, your attorney, to get advice on what your next steps should be and how you should react to the other party in the lawsuit that is also very emotional, very stressed out, and very scared. So I think it does take a team. It takes the client to trust the attorney with their life, their children, and their money, but also to listen to like the calming voice of the attorney who is not emotionally involved. And we see things from a different viewpoint than the client does. And that's where we kind of all can come together if we can work together as a team.
And to second what she's saying about coming together as a team, and then sometimes you've seen some of the best professionals be able to carry on conversations with other professionals, but when it comes to their divorce, they become almost incapable of doing that. Well, everybody needs to remember that us as attorneys, when we're speaking to another attorney, we are not going to be emotionally involved, and it's not our job to argue with them. It's not our job to fight with them. So sometimes you hear the old saying, I think my attorney might be friends with the other attorney, or they might be helping the other attorney. That's not the case. But at the end of the day, you want an attorney who is able to speak to the other attorney or attorneys to be able to try to get the best results possible. The infighting of two attorneys actually leads to more litigation and a lot of times a worse outcome. Sometimes two attorneys can't see the forest before the trees. And what Heather and I and Tina and Keaton and Dick and what our firm tries to do is we try to make sure that we stay even keel across the board and that we are professional to everybody. We are courteous. We attempt to do the best service that we can for our clients. And if we're unable to get things done by agreement, then as I said earlier, we go in and we have our hearing, and that's where we fight. That's where we express our position to the court, not to the other side.
And also, just to add to that, the more the attorneys fight and the more we're in court, the more it's going to cost the clients too.